And this is really what it comes down to when I talk to our members and my clients is we need to get your investment clock started. That's all it is. It's like, listen here, we just need to get you started. Because that investment clock, and you know this, Rob, I mean, most of our folks that are watching this right now, they understand this, is that investment compounds over time. Because look it up on a compound calculator if you get a chance. It's not linear. Uh-oh, here comes the cat. Sorry.
That's like, what do you mean it's not linear? I love it. We're not editing this out, by the way.
Okay. uh,
Uh, yeah.
is that the sooner that you can get started, whether it's real estate, stocks, or whatever, in a principled manner, is that it compounds over time. And we're talking about magnitudes, not just 1x, 2x. We're talking about the difference between a million and, not even exaggerating, 10, 20, $30 million if you get started earlier. So if you are 21, if you're 31, if you're 35 and you're just waiting for the right time, instead is go to a place that you can afford it. Start that investment clock by buying the right piece of property within your budget. It doesn't have to be the prime one, just to get going so you can start building that equity, take the tax savings, building some cash flows. And that's the whole strategy behind it. It's like what you were saying earlier is like, if you can't afford, I'm not super familiar with the Northeast, but you were saying Brooklyn or Park Heights. Was that the other one?
Park Slope and
Park Slope.
Williamsburg within Brooklyn.
Right. So even those, if you can't afford those, go to the hopscotch to the next layer out. Can you afford that? If not, hopscotch to the next one until you can find an area that you can buy. But now we're not just buying random properties. We were looking for growth factors. Like, do we know if the city's investing in that area? Is there new public transportation going to that area? Do you see Trader Joe's? Do you see Whole Foods? Do you
Whole
see some
Foods.
companies building offices out there? Nike, Intel, whatever. I'm saying that because I'm from Oregon. But that's how I found growth. Is I figured out where Intel was, Intel and Nike, which was located near us when I was growing up, where they were building new campuses. And guess what? Those places absolutely blew up when I saw them building these new campuses out there. And then new restaurants popped up, new subdivisions and all that stuff. And then we basically doubled, tripled, I think in one case even quadrupled. This is because of this 2008 time period, but quadrupled in equity. So
Do you think that the problem with a lot of these kids, do you think the problem is that a lot of people are too precious to living in that dream city? Like, for example, LA, lots of people are like, oh my God, like I have to be in LA. And, they find themselves getting very angry that LA is expensive. But it's like, I think the harsh truth is just, hey, you probably can't afford to live in LA. And if you really want to build a life in a good portfolio, you might have to consider some of those farther away suburbs that aren't in the heart of the city.
absolutely. I can say it because I know that I went through it too when I was in my late teens, early 20s, where you see all these folks being successful and you're like, oh, I want that now. I want to be able to ride my bike to work and I want to be able to walk next door to the cafe that I love or the coffee shop that I love. But you can't afford it. It's even more so now just because of social media. And obviously, you and I are part of YouTube and Instagram and everything. We see all
And
these
then
influencers.
don't we also have like another thing or, well,
I know.
maybe
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit.
we'll talk about it a little bit.
But yes, you're absolutely right. It's these individual. I should say it shouldn't be based on age or generation, but it's just the financial capacity of folks. Is that we need to start somewhere. I don't care if you're 19 years old, if you're 21, if you're 31, 41. It's that we all have to start somewhere. And if you think that you need to set the expectation to live in a prime real estate, but you can't afford it, but you need to, so if it get it, you're going to say like, hey, the housing crisis is going bonkers. I can't afford it. There's a problem with the government needs to fix. I, I'm sorry, I don't buy into that. I think that as long as I can remember from for myself, my parents, my grandparents, it has always been an issue, and it's a good issue to have because it builds resolve, builds grit, and it shows you how to become financially successful and financially mature too.
For
But
sure. Yeah. I think the real estate portfolio of your dreams requires great sacrifice.
yeah,
And, for me, I got started in house hacking, and that's basically where you own a house and you subsidize your mortgage by renting out rooms or spaces
hmm,
or areas of your house. Literally, you could rent out your couch if you wanted to. The
yeah,
original idea behind Airbnb, right?
yeah,
And that requires a sacrifice of not having your own private space, and you have roommates for a long time. But I think that's like the catalyst for my wealth, and I had to sacrifice that. And I think on the onion strategy side of things, maybe you're not going to get that prime location, but eventually it will be. And I think I bought a house in LA in 2017. My
ooh,
wife and I were broke, and I don't really know how we got qualified for the house, but we did. And by the way, we didn't come up with the down payment on our own. We sold our house in Kansas City, had a little bit of money, and we put a 3.5% down payment on. And now that house is worth 1.2, and we're renovating it now, putting about 100K into it. And it'll be about 1.3, 1.4 here in the next few months. And so it's like, I wish I could like tell younger me that, oh man, this house that you're buying is going to be more than double what you paid for it. Just wait 7 years.
Yeah.
It's just so far away for that younger version of yourself. But if you are patient, it does kind of work out in your favor, slow and steady.
Absolutely. You actually said something to me. I think it was a podcast that you and I did several years ago. It's either that or I think I remember you saying, I'm going to credit to you anyways. Is that you said that when you get into real estate, you start investing in real estate, it's not, you don't buy one, you stop at one for most investors, right? But a lot of times when you look back at your first deal, it's not going to be the biggest shining gem inside your portfolio. You usually get that first one is just to earn your stripes essentially. And then by the time you get to your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever, those are the ones that are going to be really outproducing. You're going to look back at your first one with fond memories, but that was kind of like your what?
Your problem child, or your sacrifice, or your pain.
Right. And if we can make it cash flow, we can make it profitable, fantastic. But that first one is kind of like where you earn your stripes. The one thing, so I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I remember, when I first started, goodness gracious, 12 years ago, I was a brand new white belt, didn't know anything. And you look up at these brown and black belts, and you're just in awe. And you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to go quickly. And so you train harder, you work out more. And then you quickly realize that you can't, it's like a 7 to 10 year journey to get to black belt. And then so once you accept that and you go through the exercise and of going through the process of getting your stripes at white belt, then your blue belt, then your purple, then your brown, then your black, it all accumulates. And at the end of the journey, I don't think the journey ever ends, but at the end of it, you look back at it, you're like, dude, that was totally worthwhile, and I needed to go through those steps. But what I see today, not poo-pooing on anybody's dreams or this generation, because I think it's also in our generation, the millennials, is that we look at black belts, and you're like, I don't have my white belt yet. I haven't even started, but I want to start, and I want to start at black belt level. I want to do cool moves. I want to be able to choke everybody out. I want to go to the MMA. I want to go to UFC. And it's just like, that's not how the world works, whether it's in fighting, grappling, or in real estate. And so a lot of people, what we're trying to get them to do is we're trying to get them, let's get started smart, earn your stripes, get started. And then I'm going to show you one really great example here in a little bit of how this couple, very first deal, who actually coincidentally owns a jiu-jitsu gym. I forgot about that. But anyways, they got started and they knocked it out of the park, like doing 2-3x what other normal folks do. But
I like that. Yeah. So we'll jump into that. I am pretty much, I have a similar analogy, and it's more like everybody wants the home run. And I'm like, dude, base hits, because when bases are loaded, you can go for that grand slam. But the grand slam only happens when the bases are loaded. And it's impossible to do that without any other property. So you have to kind of build this little portfolio. If you're doing it the slow and steady, I mean, some people come into this with a lot of money. Good for them. I didn't. But you slow and steady, and you build kind of this little portfolio that might seem like dogs at the beginning, but over the course of 5 to 10 years, they could very easily go up in equity $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. And if you did that over 10 years, I mean, you could be a millionaire with a very small portfolio at the end of a decade. Maybe
absolutely.
Not, but in that wheelhouse.
Patience is the greatest virtue for investors, and that's one thing that I had learned. I'm not a patient guy. You know me. You've worked with me. I like to get things done right away. I like to jump on things. If there's a new idea, I jump on it right away. Patience is something that's very difficult for me. The one thing that I've learned, if I could pass off to the next generation or anybody else, is that you need to learn patience. Real estate, you will make money. You will make a lot of money. It just takes that 5, 7, 10 years. In my case, in your case too, it sounds like it's over a decade. In my case, it's over 2 decades. And it gets easier and easier to make money over that time frame, like I said at the beginning, if you start that clock.
Hey, by the way, if you liked this conversation, I've got good news for you. There's way more where that came from. If you want to watch the whole thing, click right here.